Hello. Good morning,
Hi,
Aleš. How are you?
morning, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yes, good afternoon to you. Thank you. Yes, good morning here in Canada still, but
Mhm.
and good evening in Australia, New Zealand, and
Australia.
all over the world. And good, happy, whatever time of day it is if you're watching this after the fact. So we have see you on the replay. Debbie's already she's already said she's going to see us on the replay. So
Yeah,
there you go.
but few hours ago, I think.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
She
there
wrote
we go.
that at 5 a.m., so
Oh, and
7
there's
hours.
Tommy. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Tommy's from the Bayou State in Louisiana. Hey there, Tommy. How you doing? We'll see how many other people arrive and join us. So that's good. And John Tyner from Ireland. There you go. Okay,
Oh,
we've
and
got.
we have a visitor in the StreamYard.
Do we? Oh,
We do.
excellent,
Hello.
David. Welcome, David.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, thank you.
Good.
So,
Nice to see you. This is great. We don't usually get people to join us, so this is fantastic. I'm glad you took up the
well, you can
Alesh's
ask us
offer.
directly.
Yes, that's right. Do you have lots of questions stored up for Aleš?
No.
Okay.
Oh, we have a few others. Joke, I don't know who Joke is, but Joke is arrived, and Bill Fight, and there'll probably be others who will arrive throughout the morning, throughout the podcast, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever it is. Is it morning or afternoon or evening where you are, David?
I'm in the UK, so afternoon.
Afternoon.
Probably an hour
Okay.
behind you, Aleš, I guess.
Yes,
Mhm.
it's
Excellent.
3 p.m. here, so 2 for you.
Yeah.
Good. Great stuff. Well, excellent. It's a little hectic at my house here. We lost water, so we're juggling. There's a plumber who was working in the background, so if you see someone walking by, that would be it. And I do have to leave a little earlier than normal for at the end of the broadcast. So if I just duck out and Aleš just keeps on going, then don't worry about that. Just keep on. But I thought, Aleš, we would start with our sort of how-to with WikiTree Plus that we started the last session.
Okay.
Okay, so wait a second.
So,
So the last time we talked about lots of different things you can do with this first tab, the default tab with the suggestions. So I thought this time we would focus a little more on some of the basics of from the second tab, which is the search one. So the first thing you need to know about is once you get into WikiTree Plus, and we talked about a number of ways of doing that easily the last time. And again, I found if you can't find the link quickly and easily, if you open up your browser and just start typing plus.wikitree.com, that will get you in. But when you first get in, it always opens up the first tab initially, the suggestions list. So if you want to go to something that is specific, you're doing a specific search, not necessarily on a suggestion, then you have to close that up and then open up the search one. And so in a nutshell, I'm just going to try and describe it, and then Aleš will correct me or add extra things that I've forgotten.
okay.
In a nutshell, this box in the middle here that says text search, that's where you put in the criteria that you want to search on or search for. Above it are some options that will reflect what you get. So if you want the results of your search sorted by certain criteria, by the creation time, the date, or last name, first name, or locations, all of those are options that you can do. And you can do those before or after. I usually don't worry about these ones initially until I sort of got the list of profiles that I'm trying to whittle down or search into. And again, same sort of thing with page size, how many are returned. So I usually just leave it as default and the creation time initially, and then I do my search. So you can just do a search, and Aleš has very kindly added some text so that if you did nothing else and just hit get profiles, you would you? Yes, you would get some results that match with
I'm the
how do you
first
pronounce
one.
that first word? Is it Ljubljana?
Ljubljana.
Ljubljana. Well, that was pretty close, actually. Wow.
Yeah.
Ljubljana Trtnik.
Trtnik.
What's that?
Ljubljana Trtnik.
Trtnik.
Yes.
Trtnik. Oh,
That's
yes. Okay, I
better.
put the. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now, and
Never mind.
that's okay. Ljubljana is a place. Is that correct?
Yes, that's the capital of Slovenia.
Okay. And then Trtnik is the
It's
last name.
my
So
last name.
your last name. Yes. There we go. So you could do the same thing. So I could go Aurelia and Clarke, and let's see if there's anyone. There's a bunch of people who live in so Clarke last name, and where's the Aurelia in this first one here? Aurelia it could be anywhere in the profile, right? It doesn't necessarily.
Yeah, it's not necessarily visible. You can quickly see that if you hit Control Find and search for Clarke, and it will show it if it's where it is. So, and if it's missing, then it's probably somewhere hidden.
Right.
So there you have them.
Okay.
On some they don't show, but I'm sure there is something Aurelia in the profile.
That's right. Yeah, somewhere. Okay. So very simple text searches you can do like that. But what makes it really powerful is that you can search. You can be much more specific if you need to. And this little green help button is your best friend in that case. So if you hit that, now I'm going to hold down my command key on my Mac, or a control key on your PC would open it up in a new tab, or I guess you could just right click and choose open link in new tab. But when I'm using this button, I often do that so that I don't lose my WikiTree Plus screen, but then I can just go next door to the next tab next door and read all about the text search. So here's details about it. But what's really powerful is that for almost any criteria you would want to look for, Aleš has built in a keyword so that you can zero in on just on that. So for example, if you look at the one I pulled up on Aurelia Clarke's, most of them actually had Aurelia, the town of Aurelia, which is in Ontario, as part of the
location. But
one person had it here as a first name, which is interesting. I haven't seen that as a first name before, and a couple here don't have it as their birth or death date, but it's somewhere in their profile.
It can be marriage location or something like that.
Oh, marriage location too. That's right. That doesn't show up in this initial grid. So could be a lot of things. But if we really only wanted those who died in Aurelia, so we wanted to limit it to those, which isn't a big deal with this list because it's so small, we could go and use death country, death location. There we go. So I could say death location equals Aurelia, and that would get me.
So,
and I get a lot more people. Now, if I wanted just those who are named Clarke, then I could say, is it first name or last name?
You can just add Clarke.
I can just add Clarke, right?
I mean, this is index search, so it's a specific index that the word or a phrase is searched within. Otherwise, you can write anything that is in any index just as a word. So usually you just write words and you will get the results. Maybe there will be a few profiles that are that have Aurelia in the name or somewhere someplace else, but that's okay for most of the cases. So unless you are doing some very specific search where you need to use the index, so you're really interested only in those people that are in cemetery in Aurelia. So in that case, you would use that location equals.
Right.
It's I don't think it's in most cases you don't need to actually use that. I think. I mean, you got 17 results, so
Yes.
probably
That's easy to.
that's easy to check all of them if
That's
they
right,
are
yeah.
what you were looking for.
Yep. That's
But
exactly.
if you get hundreds of thousands, then
Then you want
probably
to zero in.
you can reduce the result set by using keywords, so to be specific.
Right. Right. Okay. Good. So here they're sorted by just creation date. It looks
Creation
like.
date, yes.
So if I sorted them by last name, then for sure we get all the Clarks in a row, and then you could just ignore anyone past that. That's one way.
Yeah, not necessarily. I mean, Clarke can also be last name other or current last name.
Oh.
So there are many different last names.
Right.
I mean, you have 3 fields
forgot
for the
about
last
that, yes.
name, and it is sorted but by last name at birth, but
Right.
the word can be in any field.
That's right. Yeah. Now, Bill has just mentioned that one thing I could do is that there's a biocheck link right at the top of the list here, which is nice. So that's the app that Kay has built. And if you click on that, oh, I have to log in. Okay, let me log in. Is that going to work, or do I have to go back to here? Let's try it again.
And I'm not sure if login redirects you correctly. No, I think you have to click check profiles or something. The
right
box
here,
is
of course.
filled,
Hello.
yeah. Okay.
Found one profile with one stylish shoe. Ooh, well, that's pretty lucky. If that's all I have, then I'm doing pretty well. So that's a very useful app. Thank you, Bill, for reminding me about that link there. And in terms of default page, well, this is only 10 profiles anyway, so I can't really show you the limit. But we have done demonstration, or we've done tests before where we've reduced it. If you have a query that's really broad, then this can limit that down. Now, tell me the difference, Aleš, between page size and max profiles.
Well, the search can have millions of results. If you search for United States, you will get really a lot. And now performing operations on millions, like sorting on millions of profiles, is extremely slow. I mean, depends on what you're sorting. User ID is by user ID, so by creation date is quite fast, but the others are then much slower because each location has to be compared to others and found what's first alphabetically. So this is so this is this max profiles is mainly for performance reasons. So you are looking for something, but you don't really need all the profiles, all 10 millions of them. So you can just see the first few hundred results, and once you then you can fine-tune the query, and when you're really the query is exactly what you want, then you can increase that to bigger numbers. So to return all of them if you really need all of them. Usually you will just check a few and that's it. So in a lot of searches, this you don't need all profiles, but just a few hundred is usually enough. And page size is how many of them are displayed on a page. So
okay.
You can now, if you let me share a bit.
Yeah, you go ahead.
So, for instance, if you let's search for United. So, okay, this So we have more than 500 results, most likely, and you also get here the link to extend the search to 1,000 results or 2,000. So you can, you don't really need to correct it on the left side. You can just here click and see more of them.
Well, that's nice.
So you can double the result size up to, I don't know, 50,000 or something like that. So now we already have 700 pages of results with 10 profiles per page.
Right.
Another thing that you forgot to mention is show relatives. So
well, I
this
hadn't got to that yet, but I'm glad you're
okay,
going
sorry.
No, that's okay. I just wanted to do a simple intro, and then I knew at one point I would hand it over to you, or you would take control and show the things I missed.
So here you can display. This is how the results are displayed. So in this case, this is the green items. The green lines are search results, and you also all relatives are listed. So this is father, mother, siblings, and spouse and children. So you get for each results also all relatives. It can help if maybe if the location is missing, you can see the location on a relative, or if there are no dates, you can see in which decade they lived in, and so on. So this can be useful sometimes when you're viewing the results, but it produces much bigger pages. So depends what you need. So this is one option.
That's very good. I like that a lot.
Then okay, what else? We have different output formats, so you can export profiles in you can search for profiles in HTML that is displayed in browsers. So you see the results. You see these results directly, and but you can also display results in Excel or in ASCII file with separated values, with I think with tabulators, or in JSON. This is mainly for other applications that are using WikiTree search to display. Because in JSON format only WikiTree user ID is provided, so they can perform then additional operations in their applications. For instance, biocheck is using JSON format afterwards to query for the profiles that you are looking for, that you are watching.
Right.
Now the limits, page sizes and limits changes with formats, but basically, if you want to, I don't know, you search for a group of profiles and you want to examine each one of them and make some note about them, then the Excel format is most useful. So you can just click get profiles, and the Excel file will be downloaded to your computer, and then you can open it. And now here in Excel format, fields are a bit different. So you get all the separated values for birth location. You also get the recognized birth country and so on. You get some statuses, century, estimated birth date that is pre-calculated based on relatives if not entered. You get all the categories, templates, managers, and marriage info. So you get almost all information about the profiles that I provide. And you can then go one by one, check something about it, make a note, edit this Excel as you want. So if you want to review all the profiles that you found.
Very nice.
So that is that one. And now about the queries. So usually you don't need to write the index name, but as Greg said before, you can. And so here in first column you have the index name. So you should in last columns are example for each index. So you can write WikiTree ID equals Trtnik2, and it will get my profiles and no other, or something like that. If you have spaces, so if you have multiple words in the query, you can use double quotes after index, so index name equals. So you can write multiple words here. This is so, for instance, if you are looking for birth location, where is the so.
And would you need double quotes if you had an apostrophe like O'Connell?
No.
No, not for O'Connell. Okay.
So if you're looking for New South Wales, you would just put New South Wales in double quotes. And it will force, otherwise, if you would forget the double quotes, only the word new will be searched for in death regions, and South Wales will be searched in all indexes. So that's a special case. Here you have, so you have each index, which is usually equals to either to a field. So these are profile fields. So first name, preferred name, middle name, suffix, nickname, and so on. Then you have additional ones, all first names, for instance, that joins all first names. So you can search for Mr. Aleš if you think you will find him, or something like that. But it limits only on the first name fields. So these are the first name fields. Then you have three last name fields and all last names. So this will also search only by last names, and full name will search by all name fields. So all of these ones.
All of them.
Yeah, so it doesn't, then in that case, it doesn't matter in which one you entered something, because some projects use last name other, or some projects used nicknames to enter, I think, the patronyms and so on. But I don't know if that's still the case, but there are, or the title, the official title is occasionally in last name other,
right?
I think. But so you can also find the third, I don't know, Henry VIII I think is entering last name other. So you can just search by full name, and it will search only name fields. Then for locations, okay, you have each location, birth, death, and marriage. Then the country index is derived country based on the location table that I provide, and that one joins different. So you can see the location table here. Different spellings of a country are used. So we have here Bulgaria in English and in Cyrillic. So if you search for Bulgaria, all of these profiles will be found, not just the one where the location is entered in English. So that usually bypasses the different writings or locations in different names. So if you search for Germany, you will also get all the Deutschland, all the locations where the Deutschland is used. So that way you can consolidate all the results.
And are all those locations, are those historical? So are there entries?
Yeah, on some locations are also goes into history.
Is New France, Nouvelle France?
Well, let's check. That's in Canada, right?
In Canada, yeah.
So
Or
that
North
would
America,
be,
anyways.
North America.
Yeah. So
It
Nouvelle
should
France
be
is how it was originally.
Canada. New France. That's usually these are
There it
usually
is, Nouvelle
English
France,
name.
Canada. I saw it up there.
Yeah, these are all the
Yeah. There we go.
Noël France. So these three writings are recognized. These three endings in the location are recognized as Noël France, Canada.
Nice.
And here you can also see how many of those endings are actually used on WikiTree.
Excellent.
So that's birth country, and the same goes for region. So here actually in this table, Canada is the country and Noël France is the region. So it's in the region index. So you can enter a query like birth country equals England and birth region is, I don't know, Yorkshire or whatever. There are also some magic words like missing location or unknown country, unofficial locations, because some of locations are not preferred by the projects. They are recognized, but project generally wants to use a different writing, different name for the location. Right. And also unknown region if the region is not recognized. So this is for some countries. We have also regions, all regions entered, and there this can be used. So these are the separate fields, and then you have consolidated locations and countries and regions. So these are all the above indexes in the same. So you can just search for location equals Ljubljana, and it will find all that have Ljubljana in any location.
Nice.
Okay, then next section are dates. So here there are many different kinds of searches. So one that was initially done was to search by century. So you can search all the profiles that were born. I think these ones are by the birth date, so that were born in 1st century. So you just write here as a magic word 1st century, and you get all the profiles that were born in 1st century. And so on.
195 of them.
Yeah, it's not much of them. A lot were deleted because they were not sourced or fictitious and so on.
Right. Yes.
But then when we come to later centuries, we have hundreds of thousands of profiles. Here is a special one, is 0th century. In that case, with that query, you will have all that have no date. So it's not known is in which century they lived. Then later I added also birth and death date queries. So you can search by, let's say, and it uses a decade.
Okay.
So no, actually it uses a year. Yeah. Yeah. Here it's not documented, so we can search all profiles.
Undocumented, secret feature here.
No. It is documented after the table. So here is precisely what can you search for as a birth date. So you can
you put a
search
B in
for.
front.
Yes, you put prefix B, and then you can write a year and a month, or actual date. You can also leave, you can also put 00 at the end. And it will find all the profiles that were born in January without entered date. So let's search for these ones.
Okay.
So they have only year and a month. So January 1915, January. So you can
Okay.
be very specific which profiles you are
Right.
looking for.
Because if you hadn't put the 00 at the end, you'd get everyone born in January with specific dates.
Yeah.
Or
Yes.
no.
If we remove the last two zeros, we get all the January profiles. So 29th, 16th, and also the ones without the date. Same goes for the year. You can, if you write 1915 with 4 zeros, it will find all profiles without a month, even that have only the year entered.
Right.
So for the ones that are pre 1000, you have to put a leading zero in, otherwise it will not find what you're looking for. And you can put B0, that will find all that have empty birth date. And another one with the S at the end, it shows all the profiles that were born in this decade, so in 1950s. So you get all the birth in 1950s. So this way.
So Lisa has a question. When you're talking about queries and you're using different criteria, does it matter the order of the queries?
No, absolutely not. Until you start using and or and not operators, it doesn't matter at all. You can just write all of them in any order. So then also for that date, it's the similar distinction, similar usage as the birth ones. So that's so these were the dates. You can also search by age. So all the profiles were that were born, I don't know, that were younger than 2 years or 1 year or so.
Is that age at death?
Yes.
Okay. Not current age.
No, it's not for living people, because
for living people,
the living people
that would give things away, wouldn't it?
No, those are private anyway. So
exactly,
for them, we only have a birth decade, so those are excluded from age searches. So actually, you only get age when you enter age. You get only profiles that have both birth and that date entered.
That makes sense.
So here on the right, you have some examples. Here is an interesting one. So you can search for all the profiles that were born in 1730s, but not. Actually. This is not. Sorry. Decade is not that they were born in that decade. It means that they lived in that. They were alive at that decade.
Okay.
So here you can search for all profiles that were born in, that were alive in 1930s, but not in 1730s, but not in 1720s. So actually, they were actually alive in 1930s. So they were born in 1730s, and that finds all those profiles. Because I don't have with B prefix, you can't search for decade, I think. Actually, it seems you can. Well, okay. There are multiple ways to do it.
More than one way to skin a cat.
Yeah. I mean, here you can also use 2 decades or 3 decades and find or that died that were in some range. I don't know. You could search for all the profiles that were alive during the Civil War or something like that. Then we have another magic word is living. So those are those are all private profiles that are still living. Then next one is relations for search of relations. So you can search the one that are in the connected to global tree. So that's public tree. Private tree is something that I prepare another tree that is global, but only using the public profiles. So if you for profiles that have hidden relatives, they are not listed here. So this is a special type of tree. And you can search for unconnected. Those they are not connected to public tree or unlinked. That means that they have no relatives whatsoever.
Oh.
And 3xxx, that's the each unconnected group gets a code each week. So you can this is the keyword to search for. So that is in you can't know it.
Yeah, because it changes from week to week. The same group cluster
yes,
will change.
And it changes, but I have. This is used in the unconnected report. So in these lists, so here, for instance, I think.
Oh, right. Yeah, we looked at this last time, didn't we? I think. I remember seeing the list of the tree and that.
So this is the search, and here is at the end you have three with a number, and this will find all the profiles that are connected to this group. So it is also displayed here in the results. So you can follow for unconnected profiles. You can see all profiles in that group. Then you have also a few additional queries. So if you want to find all profiles that have don't have a father or mother or any parent, spouse, children, so these are some magic words. And
can I ask about the no spouses one there?
Yes.
Will that pull up one, like if you've on a profile, if you've checked the box that there are no spouses, over a person?
No, it's not that checkbox. It is just that there are no spouses defined on the profile.
So whether or not that checkbox has been checked,
no, that is not searchable at the moment. I mean, and then regarding the relations, there are also now all the DNA. These were added queries. These were added recently, so you can search for all profiles that have empty DNA or Y-DNA replicated on them. Or autosomal DNA replicated on them. Then for empty and Y-DNA, you can also search for by haplogroup. So if you know by the haplogroup name, and you can search for profiles for a profile that have certain git match ID or MITA Y-DNA ID used. And these two are for the one that are missing these two IDs.
Right, of course, yes.
That should have them. So these are all Y-DNA profiles without MITA Y-DNA ID. Because the for the DNA project is looking into those profiles and asking these takers to also provide git match ID, because it's then much easier to compare the data between profiles.
It's very timely you mentioned that, since the WikiTree challenge starting tomorrow is
MITA
Y-DNA. Yes. Very timely, yes. Go visit MichaelYDNA.org.
Then, okay, you can also search for ancestors. So you can get all my ancestors or anyone's or descendants. It will not actually get all of them, but I think first 10,000 or something like that will be found as search results. And you can mix that with any other query that you want, that you can use. So you add answer. So
nice.
I can show.
Okay, we've had a couple.
Okay.
We've had a couple questions that have popped up. I'll start
on.
with Hillary's because that's an easier one to answer, and then I'll go on to Joke's question. So Hillary question: is there a limit to the number of search terms you can use?
No. Although it's hard to write them.
It's hard to write in that little tiny box.
Yeah,
but it'll just keep rolling.
Yeah, you can write it in Notepad or somewhere else and then just paste it here. So it will. I mean, there is a limit, but I think it's a few 2 megabytes or something like that. So
pretty large.
Yeah, unless the computer will provide the query, it's
that's right. Yeah,
impossible to write it.
So there may be a limit, but it's so wild. It's practically it's almost. Now, Joke. Unless your name is pronounced Yoke or something. If, his question, her question is if you use and or not.
So parentheses can't be used. I don't have support for that. And keyword also can't be used because the blank, the space is actually the end keyword. So when you write multiple words like Slovenia, Trtnik, this means Slovenia and Trtnik. So this is the actual. This is actually how it can it is parsed. So and is blank is actually the end operator, and but you can use or, and I can also search for my mother's last name. Let's Slovenia Stupica. So this will give two also from my mother's parents and relatives. And if you use or, you have to repeat all the queries. So as you see, I entered Slovenia again. So this is actually parsed as a separate query, and just the results are joined together.
So it's as if you had parentheses around that.
Yeah, we don't have them.
You don't have them. You have.
Yes, mathematically, you should be able to write something like this, but it's not supported.
Not that way. Okay. Okay, so that's good to know.
And not operator means so we are searching for Trtnik that are not in Ljubljana, for instance. So if you use the not operator, let me type it this way. So it will find all profiles in Slovenia with last name with Trtnik in the names, but not with Ljubljana. So it will just find my relatives that never lived in Ljubljana.
That never lived there.
Yeah.
Stayed out in the country. Or different.
So yes, so you can use not word, and all I think all the following words are used as not operator. So you can input Ljubljana and I don't know 1790 that died. So, and that didn't die in 1794. Now the first one should be also excluded, I think. Oops, no. Oh, just a single word? Yeah, just a single word. Okay. So you have to use not operator.
Each time.
And separately, yes, I think.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I would need to check the sources, but I think I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, we're getting pretty complicated here.
Yes, these are very complicated
Yeah.
queries. So unless you have,
I mean, sometimes you need to, but yeah.
Yeah, unless you have good understanding of Boolean operators, it's hard to. It's better to ask, and someone can help you in
Right.
G2G.
I
or me.
understand. Okay.
So these are the operators that you can use.
Okay. There's one question that came up. Let me find that came up on the in the Ask Aleš. So
G2G.
In the G2G, and
This one.
Yeah. Is there a way to sort profiles that have a find the grave link but are not categorized into a cemetery category?
I don't quite understand this question.
So I think what first of all, well, let's just, is there a way to find profiles that have a find a grave link in their sources? Because we can't do that, and we can't do the second part.
You can. I lately added, so find a grave memorial. You can search for specific find a grave memorial with ID of the memorial page. Because it's occasionally hard to find find a grave memorial on WikiTree, so this helps for that. And you can search for find a grave equals FG cemetery SEM that returns all the profiles that are on this cemetery. So So here we get 3 profiles that are here, and they are, as we can see, they don't use the category. So these are the profiles, and you can sort them by this criteria. The only thing that you have to know is the find a grave ID, cemetery ID in this case. So now we will, if you
How do you
go
find
here,
that?
When you are on find the grave, you have it. This is the memorial ID that is also here in the URL, and you have burial on this cemetery. So you can see here at the bottom. If you remove the banner, you can see the number in URL here, or if you actually click it, you can also grab it here. So this is the cemetery number. You search for that cemetery. Now, also, if you use the cemetery, I think this is also used from the cemetery report that is on. Let's have a look here. So I do prepare cemetery reports for each category, for all the profiles that use find the grave. So if it can be found, reports can be found here on category suggestion report. Here at the bottom, I have all the related links to categories. So here are the for find a grave and for cemeteries. So here we can check cemetery reports for any profile. So partial cemetery, let's have a look at these ones. And here also there is a find a grave cemetery ID. So this cemetery, for instance, this is Bodmin New Cemetery. These are the profiles that are on this cemetery. So it's 5 of them. And And this one is using also a category, and the top ones are not using it. So we can go to search by this ID. I think this link goes directly to WikiTree Plus. Yes.
Okay.
So we can now. Oops. That's wrong. No. Why is that not found?
Oh, there it is. We just have to wait there. Partial cemeteries. Oh, no, that's where you came from.
I changed this. Oh, I have to correct this.
I
think it's FG, same ID.
Right.
FG, same.
FG, same, yeah.
Without ID. And initially it was that. So now we have here 6 profiles, and as you can see, the cemetery category is used only on this one. The others are not using it. So I guess
because Find a Grave knows the cemetery, it pops up in the report. So you could use that report to go and add those categories to the ones that don't have it.
Yes.
Very
These
nice.
reports are actually can be used to to populate the cemetery categories.
I'm going to leave you, Aleš, to show off all the other new stuff you've added this month. I have a plumber here, and I have an appointment that I have to go somewhere else as well. So I'll say goodbye to everyone else on the chat and on the live stream and duck out. Bye.
Okay, so we'll finish this on our own. The cemetery report. So they are a huge thing. So here, if you start with the first of all, we have 2 starting points to the cemetery reports. We can either view them. So this is list of this first report is based on all categories on WikiTree that are linked to the Find a Grave cemetery, and the second report is the other way around. So is based on all cemeteries from Find a Grave that are on WikiTree. So if you check the first one, so these reports are done every few days, are updated every few days. You also get the changes for each group, and they are grouped first by continent, country, and also a region if there are more than, I don't know, 40 cemeteries, I think. And all the other regions are then in the others listed here. So once the number of cemeteries in a region in a country increases or a region, you get separate reports for them. So and then we have 4 in these reports. We have 4 groups of reports. So one are unlinked categories, then we have empty categories, multiple categories, and linked. So if you go one by one, unlinked cemeteries are here. We get a list of all the cemeteries where the category is not linked to the Find a Grave cemetery. So if we open this category, here we don't have a link to Find a Grave. So they probably the cemetery needs to be identified on Find a Grave and can be entered on the category. Then we can improve the comparison. because here is just this, and here are only profiles that have no also all these profiles in this category have no find a grave link on them even. So this is just profiles and connected to a category, to a cemetery category, and nothing related to find a grave. I mean, because usage of find a grave is completely optional. You don't have to use it. So these are in the unlinked section are the cemeteries that are not linked to find a grave. Then we have empty categories. These are categories that are linked to also to find a grave cemetery, but have no profiles in them whatsoever. So they were created in advance and never populated. So these are all empty categories. So I don't know, this should be looked into to add some profiles actually, if they are already created. Then we have multiple categories group here, and these are mostly where there are some problems with cemetery categories. So here we also see the red item here. So if we check, for instance, this cemetery, it is so the category itself. So this is the category. Is linked to this cemetery. So St. Malachi Parish Cemetery in this location. And then the profiles that are in the category. So this we have here a group no find a grave memorial defined. So these 4 profiles don't have find a grave memorial, which is okay. So they're just not using it. But here we have another. So this profile that is listed here is in wrong category, actually, in a different find a grave cemetery. So these this profile have this memorial. And on this memorial, oh, it has been merged since the last year. So it is St. Malachi Parish Cemetery. Aha. Okay, the 2 memorials were merged. So this one is correct actually now. It just needs to be updated. Well, let's have a look here. So here it says that the cemetery is in Saint Anne Roman Catholic Cemetery, but it is in category Notre Dame du Mont Carmel Cemetery. So it's in different one now. So now here a little bit of local knowledge is needed to establish if that's actually a different cemetery or part of that another cemetery or so on. But it's not linked one-to-one. So here this needs to be looked into and corrected somehow. It depends on what's wrong. So this is the first and the third type of. Oh, I closed it. Reopen. And the fourth group is linked cemeteries. Here are the categories where where everything is okay. So all the profiles in this category are also in the same find a grave cemetery related to it. So no errors are here. There are no problems on these cemeteries. So here, these are the 4 types that are used on this report. And then you get also summaries. You can compare changes over the weeks if you are systematically correcting something. And then the other report, so here at the top, we can also switch between one and another. So if you go to Find the Grave Cemetery reports, here we have all the Find the Grave Cemeteries where to which the profiles on WikiTree are linked by a memorial. And actually a similar approach is done here, although here is another group, partial cemeteries, where the cemeteries were only a few, only some of the profiles are actually in categories. So here, for instance, this we can see that these profiles, right, so these profiles are in this category. So here we are, the report is done by Find the Grave Cemetery or say St. Churchyard. And these profiles are linked to this category, are members of this category. So these are all up to date, while on the other hand, this in the no category group, these are the profiles that are not categorized into this cemetery, and they can be to make it complete. So if you are then able to do some other things like my connections to all the profiles in this cemetery, but now, as we see, a few are missing. So this one is in addition to, I think the other reports are similar to the cemetery report. Oh, so here in complete ones, all the profiles are that are found by Find the Grave, by the memorial links are also in the category. So these are complete kind of. Partial ones are partially complete. Multiple ones have different, are using different categories. So here, this is kind of actually, these reports are repeated from before, but from the other point of view. Then unlinked cemeteries. These are the ones that are linked, that don't have that no cemetery is linking to them. Although this one might be the one that should, because this memorial, this profile was categorized as reading cemetery. And here we can see that this one is also cemetery and crematorium. So probably this one should be linked to that Find the Grave cemetery. Actually, this one is linked to one. Reading cemetery. Well, then this is the case where they have another cemetery. Find the Grave has another cemetery within the cemetery itself. So actually, in these cases, two Find the Grave cemeteries are linked to the same cemetery on WikiTree. And the missing one, these are the ones that have no category, no associated category on Find the Grave, and also not on profiles. So all these cemeteries can be most likely added to WikiTree and linked, and then the profiles added to them, and also linked to Find the Grave cemetery. So these checks can be done further. So I think this is in short, all about these cemeteries. Now let's see if we have any other questions. Okay, that's from Greg's docs. His docs up. Possible for the Find a Grave report. Number of no category profiles. You have the total number, I think, here in this section for each cemetery. And let me read this again. For Find a Grave report, to include the number of no category. Yeah, no, that's only visible by a cemetery report. So only here is like no category or no memorial. That's not extracted to the to, I guess, for the summary of a country or something like that. No, that can't be done. For now, what connection stats. Connection stats are done by Connection Finder, and those Connection Finder updates its data every 30 minutes. So within half an hour, you will be able to get a path from the new profiles or existing one. If you added the connection, you should be able. You should see that new connection, but it will not correct in the reports. Like I think CC7 number is also updated, but not the other indicators like unconnected or distance to featured profiles and so on. Those are not updated every 30 minutes. Those are updated on a daily basis. So within 24 hours, such a profile should get connected or distance to it changed. But if you are looking for the actual path, then that's updated instantly in half an hour. So I'm by that I mean connection to me. So this this connection should have the new profile and new path. If it's shorter, should display that path in 30 minutes. Okay. Yeah, that's so that number. I mean, this is a lot of work. If you are adding the cemeteries, you have to do it one by one and also check all the data. So it's a slow process, and you can. But it is in this group of the partial cemeteries. So in the linked, not so here. If you go by cemetery, they are listed here in partial cemeteries. So if you are going by this report, then so here you have to add 28 memorials to the category. So that's quite it takes some time to do that. And afterwards, when it's cleared correctly, it will disappear from this report and will be displayed in the complete cemeteries. So that's to Stu. Okay, I think we had an hour. If there are no more questions, I think we should end this for today. So see you next month and bye.